Hey, you're watching Preppy Kitchen, where I, John Cannell, teach you how to make delicious home-cooked recipes to share with your family and friends. Today, we're making the most amazing apple cobbler. This thing comes together in a snap, and it is so delicious. All the fall spices, an amazing biscuit topping on top, and of course, there's a big dollop of whipped cream. Let's get started. I recently got an amazing lesson on flower arrangement and centerpieces from my friend Amy. To thank her, I'm gonna be making an apple cobbler. It's fall, she loves apples, what could go wrong? If you haven't noticed, I am still in the rental house. The remodel is progressing along a little more slowly than I would like. But that's like literally how it always is. I've never heard someone say, oh, we're ahead of schedule, this is amazing. I'm really looking forward to that new kitchen. In the meantime, I have almost 5 pounds of Granny Smith apples right here because there is a giant Pyrex dish to fill. You could make this same recipe with a 9 by 9 inch pan and have like a thick layer of apples and the biscuit mixture. However, I like a thinner biscuit on mine. I'm just gonna say that. Let's peel our apples first, like a little assembly line, and then we're gonna get to cutting them up. This is an amazing thing to do if you have someone that doesn't know how to cook but feels guilty, and they will help you. It's like, oh, you can't do anything in the kitchen but you expressed a vague interest in helping? I have some apples to peel, thanks. But that person doesn't exist right now, so I will be doing this on my own. In fast forward. Okay, now it's time to cut the flesh away from the apples. So as you cut the flesh away from the apples, you're going to be giving them a slice, like maybe 1/2 inch slices. They could be a bit more substantial. You could go thinner if you want to as well, to 1/4 of an inch. Apple cobblers are great when you have a big group of people to feed, or you just want to gorge yourself. You get all that great apple pie taste from the filling, but the topping is just beyond easy to make. It comes together in a food processor in a couple minutes, with no need to chill or whatever else. Or you can make it by hand really easily too. It's just a bit more messy. In case you're wondering, Georgina and Spencer are doing A-okay. You can click up here for my Meet My New Friends video with Georgina, Spencer, Bo, and the chickens. Apples are all cut up finally. Now we can go on to the next step. I might have bought extra apples for the kids' snacks, which got incorporated into here. That's fine. These can go into a little snack bag for them for pickup from preschool. Right now, we're going to be zesting a lemon, a little lemon zest in the apple. You get, whoa, so much flavor. You know, the Greek in me has to put lemon in everything, everything. We grew up adding lemon juice to things instead of salt for the most part, and we would use vinegar too sometimes, so grew up in a low sodium household. This is a crazy pile, so I'm gonna transfer it over to the Pyrex dish right now. And see, look, that spreads out to be a really nice layer. And I'll just mix things in the Pyrex dish as we go along, and be A-okay. Since I have my lemon out, I'm gonna squeeze some lemon juice into here. So you want about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, about 1/2 a lemon. If you wanna add more, especially if you're using an apple that's on the sweeter side. These Granny Smith are tart. All right, now for the fun part, we're gonna be adding in all of our flavorings and some sweetness. I have 1/3 cup of packed brown sugar, so pack. See how it comes out? Sprinkle that on top. Ooh. Tablespoon of cornstarch. Oh, I hate the way cornstarch feels, but it does some magic. It'll thicken things up for us. A generous 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, so it's kind of like however much you want. I'm grating in about 1/4 teaspoon of fresh nutmeg. Nutmeg is one of my favorite spices. It is so aromatic and almost citrusy. I love using it in sweet dishes in the fall, but I put it in all of my white sauces. It adds a little something extra. And if you can do the freshly grated with a microplane, it's amazing. And I'm spreading out everything because even though I'm gonna toss it, it just helps to get a nice even coverage. A teaspoon of vanilla, or so. Generous teaspoon, baby. And now I'm gonna use my clean hands to toss it all up, and then we'll set it aside. This smells so good. Oh my gosh, brown sugar and apples and cinnamon. You had me at hello. Good, everything has kind of nice even coverage right now. And all you wanna do before you finish up is just to kind of press the apples down a bit and make sure that there aren't any like big holes or voids. This can get set aside while we work on our sweet biscuit topping. For that easy biscuit topping, you're gonna cut 3/4 of a cup or 170 grams of unsalted cold butter into 1-inch cubes, just like this. After you've done that, put it back in the fridge or freezer to hang out while you do the rest, because you don't want it to be warm. It needs to be cold. Into the bowl of your food processor, you're gonna add 2 cups or 240 grams of all-purpose flour. There we go. 1/2 cup or 100 grams of sugar. A stingy teaspoon of salt, and a tablespoon of baking powder. Give it a little shake, and we're gonna whiz it up. Feeling a little sassy, so I'm gonna add in a quarter teaspoon of cinnamon too. You can always spice your toppings, your pie crust, whatever, and it adds a little extra dimension of flavor. Pulse, pulse, pulse. Now we can get that cold butter from the fridge. Sprinkle my butter in. We're gonna whiz this again, just to get kind of like a ruddy dough. And now, not sticking my fingers in there ever again, but I just wanna show you, you have like smaller pieces of butter that are really well mixed in there. Close it up. We're gonna drizzle in 3/4 of a cup of 1/2 and 1/2. You can use a mixture of cream and milk if you don't have 1/2 and 1/2. You both know I'm the worst spiller in the world, so I'm gonna try and do this nicely. Here we go. That wasn't so bad. Okay, now, just so you can see, I have like a nice wet biscuit mixture. This tastes really good, but I will not eat it because I need it all for that cobbler. Back to this guy. So I like a thin layer of topping with a ton of apples. If you like all the topping, you can double this, you can increase it by 50% really easily and get like a thicker biscuit later on. But for me, like a thin biscuit, a lot of apples, and then a huge dollop of whipped cream on top. That is heaven to me. Heaven on a biscuit. I just like to mush it out, separate it, and spread it out. Don't try and pat it down to be perfect. And I think it's totally fine to have some apples exposed on the edge too. You don't need to cover it completely like a shepherd's pie or anything. I've got a nice thin layer of my topping here, and now I'm gonna add a little bit of cinnamon sugar because, well, why not? Just take a couple tablespoons of white sugar and a big pinch of cinnamon, mix it up. And now we can sprinkle that on top, totally optional, but I just think it makes everything better. This is ready to go into the oven at 350 for about 45 minutes now. You'll have the apples soften up, the topping will be golden brown, and it'll be all around aromatic and delicious. Into the oven. This apple cobbler is cool enough to eat finally, so I'm gonna whip up a quick batch of whipped cream. I think that cobbler has to have either whipped cream or ice cream or both. Into a mixer, I'm adding about a cup of whipped cream. You can do as much or as little as you like. A couple tablespoons of sugar and a big splash of vanilla. Whip it up on high, and you're gonna look for some soft peaks. The only thing that you need to worry about is over whipping it, and then you're done. If you like this recipe, check out my apple pie cookies. It is like an amazing apple pie, but in cookie form with homemade caramel on the inside. They are bonkers. I'm just gonna say that. All right, now it's time for a bite. I love you, apple cobbler. You're my best friend. Bite for bite, this packs in the most flavor. It is better than almost everyone else's apple pies, except for mine, of course. Because it has just like so much apple flavor and just the right amount of topping in each bite. Oh, it's amazing. Okay, I hope you get to make this. If you like my videos, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.